In this lesson, we look at an introduction to decimals. Now let's consider this number firstly, 527. All right, we've seen whole numbers before, where that 7 would be in the units column, the ones column. The 2 is in the tens column, and the 5 is in the hundreds column. Okay, that's not new. We've seen that plenty of times. Now, if we put something after that whole number, okay, a point, that is known as a decimal point. It separates the whole number part with a decimal part. And let's say we had a 9 and a 3 in those positions. We're going to consider those two positions. Well, that 9 is in the tenths position, tenths. And the 3 is in the hundredths position. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at today, tenths and hundredths. Now, just a note on that decimal point, its position can either be at the bottom there or it could be moved up there. Okay, you might see both of them. It means exactly the same thing. Okay, I'll just leave mine as is there. Now let's consider if we have one whole and let's break it up into tenths. Okay, 10 equal parts. Now if we shade in one of them, that's 1/10. And in terms of a decimal, that is equal to 0.1. Here we have 2/10. And as a decimal, that is written 0.2. 3/10. What do you think? Did you say 0.3? Okay, it's not too hard. Now, I've shaded in 5 there, so that's 5/10, and that's 0.5. Now, 0.5 is a very common one, okay? It's 1/2. So if you see 0.5, you're thinking, that's a half. Okay, we've got 9 shaded in, so that's 9/10. That's 0.9. And a good thing to think about, when you see it's over 10, okay, when we're dealing with tenths, we have what we call one decimal place, okay? There's just only one number after the decimal point. All right, so that was tenths. What about if we break it up into hundredths? So, okay, broken up to hundredths. Now, how many have we shaded there? Well, let's count them by, that's 10 up there, 10, 20, and then there's another 8 there. So we have 28 hundredths, and as a decimal we write that as 0.28. All right, what about this one? Well, again, let's count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 5 more is 75. So 75 hundredths, and again, as a decimal, 0.75. Now this time there's only 6, so it's 6 hundredths, and as a decimal, 0.06. So if it's over 100, then we expect to see 2 decimal places, okay? 2 digits after that decimal point. Now, we've seen the 10 hundredths, okay, as shaded. Well, we can think about that as being, it's the same, in fact, as 1/10, isn't it? It's the same thing. So 10 hundredths, 0.10 as a decimal, is the same as 1/10. In other words, it equals 0.1. So there's certainly a connection there. In a similar way, 0.20 is the same as 0.2. 0.30 is the same as 0.3, and so on. So that continues on. Let's look at some examples now. What number is represented below? So in this particular one, what have we got? Well, we certainly have one whole there, so we'll write 1. And in this part of the diagram, 4/10. Now, as a decimal, let's write the 1, and the 4/10 can be written as 0.4. So, because it's over 10, we expect to see 1 decimal place. Next one. What have we got here? Well, in terms of wholes, we've got 1, 2. So let's write the 2 down. And in terms of the fraction part, well, if you counted them up, you'll find 36 out of 100. So 36 hundredths. Now, as a decimal, let's write the 2 down. It's the whole number part. The decimal part, 36 over 100, we'd write as 0.36. So again, because it's over 100, we would expect 2 decimal places. The next one here, what have we got? Well, we've only got one whole, and we have how many hundredths? 8. So we have 8 hundredths there. The way we're going to write that, we put our 1 down, and the 8 hundredths we're going to write as 0.08. All right, 0.08. Again, we've got over 100, expect 2 decimal places. Excellent. Well, that concludes the lesson. Good luck with your questions.